Good morning, America. Thanks for joining us here on the Andy Kirkendall Show, where Andy interviews actors, writers, filmmakers, athletes, musicians, songwriters, and more, and asks them, what do you do and why do you do it? So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. Today I have a returning guest. He originally was on Morning Moments June 16th, 2021. He was actually number 84 for my guest, number wise, and now I've done about 570, 580 interviews. So it's a pleasure to bring back this wonderful actor, great man of God, Buddy Campbell. Welcome to Morning Moments.
Thanks for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here.
We have since ran into so many mutual friends, and your name comes up quite often. And what a great man of integrity. And you mentioned his name, people are just raving about him. So let me ask you, buddy, what are you doing now, and why are you doing it?
Well, I'm still trying to be an actor, trying to make a living out of it. Doing a lot of writing now, which I hadn't done too much when I first started, but now I'm added the title of screenwriter to my resume, starting to produce a little bit of small budget independent films, and directed a film or two now. So that's what I'm doing, just more the same, and I can humbly say that the projects are getting bigger, and I'm so thankful for that. God's blessed me in so many ways, and one of those is getting involved with bigger projects, and just thrilled to what He's done for me for my career right now.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for an actor to later just want to get behind the scenes as well as in front of the camera. And to see so many of them that work and try producing, directing, writing, and other things, and see God's just got a well-rounded careers for people that are willing to say, God, what do you have next for me, right?
Well, actors are artists, and so it's not just the performance aspect of it, but we've got so many ideas in our head that would make good movies that we would like to make. And if you want to have those play out, you've got to put them down on paper. You got to start writing. You got to start. Somebody they're not going to come up to you and say, I want you, can you direct this film? Well, no, you just got to write your own film and direct your own film to get started. So that's what you got to do. You got all these ideas that come to your head, so you just got to make them yourself.
Speaking of ideals and things coming to your head, what are some of the things that you could share that you're working with now?
Well, I'm actually going to be in Kentucky in a couple weeks, filming a movie called Ghost of the Big Sandy. And it's a kids adventure movie with a great storyline, some good morals in it, and some good life lessons. We're going to be filming for about 2 or 3 weeks in Eastern Kentucky. So looking forward to that. I've got a couple of projects about to be released this year sometime, hopefully within the next year. I'm very excited about. One of them I shot in Indiana last fall called Disciples in the Moonlight. Don't know if you've heard about that one. That has some people in it that I'm sure you've had as guests on your show before. Brett Parvel is the writer and director of it, and just so excited about the release of that. And got some other projects that too early to comment about, but it's shaping up to be a very good year. And again, God's blessed me well.
Yeah, I think some folks don't realize that things that you're working on now won't be released to 2 or 3 years sometimes. And once it's released, you're already on to the next thing. and when it's being released. And so it's a constant working at the new what's new and what God's opening up for the next adventure, right?
Sure. If somebody just sees a movie that just got released that I was in, they want to talk about it, and I'm like, yeah, let me think. That was 2 years ago when I did that. So yeah, I'm trying to remember, who was in it with me or whatever. But the details are a little foggier when the public first sees it. But yeah, it's all about the next project. What's coming up next is always on our mind. I've got like 16 projects I'm attached to right now that's coming up, and so yeah, the focus is always on the next movie.
And just like our Christian walk, sometimes God's got things for us in the future, but just got to keep doing the day by day, and as you're faithful to Him, He's watching what's the next chapter is all about, isn't it?
Well, God's got a timeline for us, and we get frustrated sometimes by wondering why this project can't be made right now. You try to if you try to force it into a timeline that doesn't line up with God's, it doesn't work out that well. But you got to be patient. And I tell people, one of the young actors, one thing you have got to learn is patience, and that's with a CE, not a TS at the end. Because if you don't have patience, you will be a patient yourself, because you're going to drive yourself crazy. Yeah, it's like sitting on a movie set, especially new people. They may be on a movie for the first time, and they're just sitting for hours. When is this going to, hurry up and wait? Is the expression. You've got to have patience in this business, either when you're on set or when you are trying to get a movie made, because it doesn't happen instantaneously in this business. It's a process to it, and you got to be patient.
Yeah to knowing that God's in control, and surrendering to Him is saying, it's all yours, Lord, I give it to you.
Because if you're patient and you put it in God's hands, usually it comes up better than it would have been if you made it when you wanted to. Yeah. Certain actors come along that weren't available the first time, and now they're available. Director, financing, every aspect, if you're patient, will work itself out to the betterment of the project. And if you try to force things and not pray about it and let God be in control, then you're going to make just an awful project, and it's not going to be near as good as it would have been if you put it in God's hands and on his timeline.
It's also about the story too, to be able to get either behind the scenes screenplay writing or directing or even acting, getting the story out to be heard. That story within you just burns, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. I'm working with a great writer right now named Kay Cordell, and she has a story about her life, about her childhood. And the important thing about that movie is not to make a movie that we can make a lot of money off of. It's to get the story out, because she has such an incredible story to tell. And that's the focal point on her project called Redbird Phoenix, is to get the story out. And we've been frustrated, like I was saying earlier, about our timeline, trying to get this movie made a couple years ago, but we know it's in, we put it in God's hands, and we know that He has a plan for it, and it will get made, and the story will be told properly with it being on God's timeline.
And not ahead of God, not behind God, but have God beside you, and you're walking beside what He wants you to do right this moment. That's always a hard thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. if you walk alone, you'll fall alone.
Yeah.
And it's a lonely walk when you do it alone.
And you don't have to be an actor, a director, a screenplay writer to have a story. I think of Revelations that tells us that through the blood of the cross and by our testimony, you have something that nobody else has, your testimony. And when you have your story and share your story, there's going to be results for the kingdom of God.
Yeah, every person in the world has a story to tell, and it's like some people, say, I can't be a witness for God. I've got nothing to say. Yes, you do. You've got a story that will touch somebody if you'll just witness, talk to somebody who's lost, and you'd be surprised how your story can affect someone else, even if it's the most simplistic and boring story in your mind. You don't know how it's going to affect somebody. And but yeah, everybody's got a story to tell, and there's writers in all of us. People just have to have the dedication and discipline to try it. And most people don't know where to start, but there's people, writers and filmmakers everywhere that would be glad to help people along. We just have to be asked.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Now, as we've been talking, you have been seeing many of the films and projects that Buddy's been in. He's been on several sets, movies, TV series, and you've seen pictures of those. And maybe you've seen some of them go, yeah, he looked familiar. He was in that movie. And you're thinking, you're thinking when you see those movies that's been flashing on the screen, as you see those movies, think about what God's done for Buddy and what he's about to do. But to do that, he needs your support with prayer. You see, Buddy desperately needs your prayers, folks, and you need the practice. So as we close this interview today, I'd like for you to stop and pray that God would continue to have Buddy at the right time, right place at the right time, and the right role, not just acting, but writing and directing and producing and whatever God has. God's put within his heart a passion so that he could follow his purpose, his plan, his future, and his hope. Because you see, folks, God's got a purpose, a plan, a future, and a hope for you too. If you'll just look and say, God, what is it? What do you need for me to do? Buddy, thank you for joining me again for Morning Moments.
No, again, it's a pleasure to be here, and love to be on anytime. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Pass this interview on. Keep coming back. And may God richly bless you.